Hello, punters, and welcome back to another episode of NRL Unpopular Opinions. And I simply just cannot wait to chat to these boys this week. There's no Jharal Yow Yew. He's off in the great city of Maryborough.
The streak broken.
Yes. The Iron Man.
Yeah.
He's gone down.
This is his second miss.
Yeah, but he hasn't missed one for a minute, as he will remind us.
Yeah.
Been Mr. Reliable. He has. As you've already heard, joining me is the greatest mind in the game. It's Oscar Pannifex.
Let's go.
There he is.
Glory, glory, baby.
And the dude that's been watching AFL.
What?
Liam Fogarty.
Not a heap yet. I'm gonna get a lot force fed on me this weekend. I'm going to gather round. And
what's that?
It's like Magic Round, but a bit shitter.
Yeah.
In Adelaide.
Yeah.
Radelaide.
I don't mind Adelaide, but I've got to watch four games of Aussie rules. And
can you drink?
Yeah, can I drink? That's all I'm going to be doing. I don't even have to be on camera this weekend.
Okay,
I'm just getting munted. And
who are you going down with?
Jack and Dill. We're watching 4 games of AFL, which will...
Big 3, I think.
Yeah. It's going to double the amount of Aussie rules I've watched live in my lifetime.
That's a lie.
I'd have to go back and be close, but yeah. Can we talk real footy?
We can.
Yeah.
Please.
Let's dive into our opening topics. We have a lot to discuss on the officiating front this week. 8 sin bins over the weekend. And surprisingly, we didn't have any in Rabbits Roosters, which is absolutely surprising to me.
Such a disciplined outfit, this Rabbitohs team.
Yeah.
It's not surprising to me.
The view from the top's good, is it?
Glory, glory.
Yeah, I've got to enjoy it while it lasts, boys. Come on.
Fogs, you went on a passionate tirade in our group chat on Friday night, I think it was, about all of this.
Might have started enjoying my Friday a bit early.
Fridays are better at Ned's.
They certainly are. They're better at home, actually. I ain't gonna lie.
What did you make of this crackdown on head-high shots? I don't think a lot of them really impacted a lot of games outside of Tino's one against the Finns.
No, but
that's probably the only one.
Name another sport in the world where you can just change the rules halfway through a season. Yeah. Like, I think that's I'm probably one of the dumber blokes to ever talk about this, and this topic's been discussed a heap already by smarter blokes than I, but I just... The refs are making it up as they go. There's no clear sort of black and white rule about these 10 in the bins. And I think the thing that really bugged me over the weekend was, if it's such an egregious penalty that it warrants 10 in the bin, why can't the refs see it when it happens? Why are we going back to play, two sets even, to penalise these players? Like, the one that you're referring to on Friday that I blew up about was the Penrith Cowboys game. And in my eyes, I thought there was 5 of the same tackles in that game. And I wrote them down. Jakey Clifford got away with it all. Reece Robson was penalty in a sin bin straight up. They made an example of him. Yep. Isaiah Yeo, towards the end of it, no penalty, but then 3 sets later, they went back and put him on report. Yeah. Isaac Tongo, no penalty, sin bin 2 sets later, and then Nanai, no penalty, but on report straight away. Like, how can we really? What's the point I'm trying to make? It's bullshit. There's just like if it's such a bad penalty and we're cracking down on it, why are we going back and having a look? And I'm talking in circles now.
Well, I think what you're trying to say is why isn't it being a crackdown from the very start of the season? Exactly. Why are we bringing it in round 5?
Exactly. There's no other sport in the world that will just change the rules halfway through a year. Like, I don't think it's fair on the players. I don't think it's fair on the coaches. Certainly not fair on the referees, because they're now copping a heap.
Ricky Stewart doesn't think it's fair.
No, and it's
really.
Think about how much outrage the kickoff return had at the start of the year when they suggested it, but so they gauged some rules.
It was lingering
with
from last
clubs,
year,
but then they would just go, nah, all right, this week if you breathe on old mate's head, it's 10 in the bin. But I just don't understand what we're doing.
I think for me, I actually hate talking about this stuff, but I feel like we have to.
Don't get me wrong, I've always had the opinion that blaming the referees for a result or blaming the referee's decision is like the smoothest brain, lowest IQ thing you can do as a fan. But me.
You're not bagging the refs because of a result that happened because of something that they did. We're just bagging the whole system
the
in general.
game at the moment.
Yeah.
Really, the decisions that are being passed down, the instructions that the refs are carrying out onto the field from above. I think we spoke last year about like referees deeming the force or like the amount of force in a tackle on the field in real time. Like that technology doesn't exist.
It's immeasurable. You can't.
You watch the UFC, someone will cop a glancing blow to the side of the head and they're out cold.
Go to sleep.
And they ain't going to eat a fist to the face and they just keep going. Like there's so many variables in this world. And Wayne Bennett said it the other day. Like it shouldn't be the referee's job to stand on the field and figure out, was that a forceful knock to the head or not? Like, there's too many things that they need to worry about. I think he made a pretty good suggestion around if a player's sent off via injury and then they're ruled out after the fact, then that's when you can go, okay, the offender needs to sit down for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
We're not going to find a solution sitting at this desk here, but it's an ongoing issue. I mean, 5 weeks ago, it was the play the ball crackdown. We've forgotten about that rule.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can't tell me that's because every single player in the NRL has cleaned up their play the balls in the space of 5 weeks. It doesn't happen. So, I'm with you, Fogs. It's a nightmare at the moment.
I think that's my biggest gripe, though, is they'll crack down on headshots and then overlook things like 3 forward passes that were blatantly obvious over the weekend. Things
Two forward passes. One
What's
of them
the
was
other one? Set restarts and even like penalties or when a player loses the ball on a set restart when the bell chimes. They need to fix that as well.
True.
That's become. I've seen that so much over the last couple of weeks.
Because you don't get the advantage of it.
Yeah. That they need to fix that. Headshots is obviously a big problem. You got to protect the head. We all agree with that.
Yeah, there's no denying that.
Yeah.
Come on, boys.
Putting them in a bin for 10 minutes doesn't solve the problem of head highs in the game. And as a lot of the coaches pointed to over the weekend, it makes for a worse product, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Speaking of solving problems, the Newcastle Knights, back-to-back losers. Only 2 wins this year against the Tigers and the Finns. They've gone down to the Titans and the Dogs in succession now. We've spoken a fair bit about the Knights over the last few weeks. Oscar, I'll ask you this.
Oh, you don't want to throw to Jharal?
Jharal, what do you think?
That's racist. How dare you?
I think Jharal tipped him to win the spoon, so we should be
Well done, Jharal. Well seen there, mate. Apologies.
Oscar, I'll ask you, do you think teams have sort of figured out Newcastle a little bit now? If they rush up, they pressure Ponga or Fletcher Sharp, that disrupts their attack. Is that the key to beating the Knights?
I think the one note that I wrote down in between changing nappies on Sunday afternoon, that poo slinger that it was every time KP gets the ball out of the back of shape, like you can just see what's going to happen. He gets the ball, he beats the guy that he needs to beat to create a little overlap. Defensive edges now are just staying up really nice and high. So even if he gets around, say if they're putting a block shape on the 3-in defender, he's quick enough to get around him, draw in the centre and create a 3-on-2. But the centre and wing are just staying so high, there's no room for the pass. It's going to take a really special tip on from Gags to his winger or a really risky cutout pass under pressure in the face of defenders for KP to put his winger down the touchline. So, to me, it's just like, they get to a spot. Okay, KP's getting the ball. Can he beat 3 dudes on his own? Okay, they score. If he can't, then all right, it's just a kick to the corner and back in the grind. Yeah, it's very boring attack for me in Newcastle right now.
And KP's been carrying them for the first month, basically. It's been a one-man show. They got the Tigers coming up and then the Sharks, both in Newey. I look forward to them winning both of those games, and then we'll be talking about, are they a finals contender?
Yeah, true.
Because that's what they tend to do.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the Finns picking up their first win of the season against the Titans. I don't really know what to make of this game. I think the Titans were poor from the very start. As I said at the start of the show, Tino getting sent off completely changed the tone.
Yep.
But their errors were so bad.
Yeah.
They gave the Finns a lot of good ball, a lot of good possession in good positions. Are you sold on the Finns maybe turning this around?
I think they'll be better than some of the others down the bottom of the ladder, but no, I don't think they're, like, based on that win, I'm not going to say, they're fine. They're top 8
Booking
contenders.
your Finns tattoo.
Yeah, I think it was a perfect storm for them. Obviously, they were desperate. They needed a win. And Titans already injury hit going into the game. I think they had both more playing out in the centres. Jalen de Groot, 2 games in at fullback. And Fafita started for the first time this year. Yeah. And he got spotted for a couple of tries. Look, Redcliffe That was their best performance of the season, and they needed the win, but no, not convinced on them.
Not convinced.
No.
I thought the spine looked much better. Like Hammer looked interested for a change. That was his best game. The Titans are such a tricky team to figure out right now, don't you think, folks?
Yeah, I think the winger getting called for the play the ball error because the sticky grip stuck to the footy. Yeah. I think that summed up their day. There was just too many errors. For some reason, when they go back home, like they're just a completely different unit. I think they play better on the road some weeks. Dolphins never lost on the Gold Coast.
Really?
Yeah, that's a good fact.
They're 2-0.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, okay.
I just thought, what did they score? Almost 30 points, the Dolphins. Two of their tries were really nice. Lemuelu scored a nice try. Nikorima hit Felice short and then wrapped around, I think. And then Asako scored a really nice try in the corner. Some middle ball playing from, I think, Saifidi it was, or maybe Mark Nichols compressed the line and then a really nice 3-pass shift to the edge. But the rest of their tries were they repeatable? To me, I don't think so. And I think there's a bit of value in Penrith going up against Redcliffe this week.
Yeah, it's a good segue because Finns, Panthers, Thursday night at Suncorp. The Panthers are a story in their own right now. First time since 2019 they've lost 4 in a row. The only team in Australia not to bank a win.
Well,
or not to bank a win in Australia, I should say.
Yeah, true.
The Panthers are $9 now to win the premiership. We spoke a couple of weeks ago. They were $6.
Yeah, aged poorly.
Yeah, it really has.
Don't clip that.
Yeah, too late.
Clearly a team that's sort of lacking a little bit of depth. I know Cleary was back. And it was another game over the weekend where they probably could have won it. They keep showing up late in the game and making it interesting. But here we are. They're sitting towards the bottom of the ladder. Lots of questions. I'll ask you this straight off the bat. Do you think if they finish outside the top 4, they could become the first team to win the premiership outside the top 4? Are they still in that conversation?
I think so.
That's what Jharal said in one of the first steps. He's like, they don't really have a home ground this year, so home ground advantage means nothing. They still scare me. I feel like they're one of those dynasties, just like we talked about the Chiefs a heap. We talked about the Golden State Warriors back in the day. Like they just have to get to finals.
Click into gear.
And then they go. But you're not going to get to finals without winning any footy games. I should turn around against the Dolphins this week, but I thought they'd beat the Cowboys. I don't know.
They should have beat the Cowboys.
Really
if Casey
should've.
McLean passes to Tom Jenkins in the backfield,
that was
they're
poor.
up by 2 points or whatever it was, and with 5 minutes to go, they don't lose it from there. I think interesting thing you just said then, Ryan. Like they keep finding themselves in positions like late or putting themselves in positions late in games. I think like that's their system. I think their system is still like elite.
Yep.
You just got to look at, like, there's 2 ways for me to look at this. You look on the weekend, 68% completion rate. They had 16 errors, 9 penalties, and 41 missed tackles.
That's horrendous.
Like, those are numbers we don't read from Penrith ever, right?
Yep.
On the other side, they made 7 line breaks. They ran for almost 2,000 metres, and they lost by 4 points. So, yeah, they're putting themselves, I don't know if they're putting themselves into position to maybe steal it late or they're just there all the time. I just think they're always in games, but they've just got so many young guys making shit individual errors.
Yep.
Casey McLean not passing to Jenkins is one example that we just mentioned. I think missing guys like, and they were missing Edwards, Sorensen and Mitch Kenny got injured halfway through that game as well. So you look at the scoreboard, you go, shit, they've lost 4 in a row. And then you look at how they've lost those games, very winnable games for that Penrith team. They're just not icing their opportunities. And I think when you've got so many young guys, especially a lot of young Polynesian guys, I think I've heard Willie Mason talk about this or Mitch Pearce on the Sixes and Sevens podcast, like missing Jerome Luai and James Fisher-Harris, you could talk about what they do on the field, but in terms of like locker room presence, you remember when Stephen Crichton came into grade, didn't make an error ever, you know? To'o does it, Taruva does it. All these guys just come in and dominate that swagger, that arrogance they had. I think Luai was probably a really big part of like giving these young guys confidence to come in and play themselves. I mean, this is just me talking off me top of my head here. I don't actually know, but and then Fisher-Harris, another big personality, but for a different reason, keeping those same really fired up, confident young guys, keeping them grounded, keeping them, accountable, keeping them, making sure that they're focused on doing their jobs as well as enjoying it and swagging out there. So, yeah, I don't know. I just think there's some things that they're working through at the moment, but the numbers just from that game alone suggest that they're not as far away as we think they are.
Not enough 1-4 in the dressing sheds at the moment.
Ironic because they're 1-4.
Yeah, well, there you go. My district has too much drillers.
I think you even saw with the Tigers on Saturday night with no Luai, they kind of missed him as well. Like he's a big name not to have out there. Jharal spoke a few weeks ago about them not having a home field advantage. There's a huge difference between playing at a suburban ground like they're used to then playing at Combank where it's like you can hear a pin drop.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is a big question, but say they finish 10th, they don't play finals. Where do you think that dynasty ranks overall against teams like the Storm? To not back it up and play at least play finals this year.
Oh. I think you still have to appreciate 4 in a row for what it was. Like I don't think that will ever be done again, and it was going to end eventually. So I think you just accept that. By 4 in a row, best ever, surely.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I mean, like if they don't play finals this year, does that mean the dynasty's over, or do they come back the following year and? What
makes a dynasty really? What's the criteria?
I think like when we talk about Melbourne Storm's dynasty, it's lasted for 23 years since Bells has been there. We still, they're not as good as they were in the early 2000s, but I mean they're still. I mean, right now they're the best team in the comp, aren't they?
Melbourne won the spoon after winning a couple premierships.
Good point. Yeah.
So I think
whether that was talent wise or not, I don't know. But,
that's when you were a fan, wasn't it? Yeah, I think with Penrith, the most interesting part's going to be that origin stretch where they lose some players because that's where they're probably going to find it really hard to finish top 4 because they're already so far behind, and that's where you'd think they'd make up some ground, but I don't see that happening. Flip of the coin to the team that beat them over the weekend, the Cowboys. Now won back-to-back. We've had some pretty hot takes about the Cows on this show since the start of the year. What does a win over the defending champs do for the Cowboys' confidence?
Nothing but good things, I'd imagine. Who have they got this week? The Rabbits.
Over in Perth.
Slight favourites too.
A decimated Rabbitohs outfit.
Yeah, you can't walk into training this week without your chin up high after beating Penrith in the way that they did. I think it will do wonders for them.
Does it save Peyton's job?
Well, that's two in a row. He's buying until at least Magic.
Lengthens the leash a little bit.
Yeah, he doesn't need to start putting his house up for sale just yet.
I mean, they were one pass away from losing last week, and then the week before they jagged 2 or 3 tries off deflected kicks, and Canberra didn't draw him past the fullback in the backfield also.
So you're saying it's a loss.
So there's two ways to look at it. I think they're a much better team when Sam McIntyre plays big minutes through the middle. His work rate, his ability to plug gaps, it's exactly what they need when they've got big bodies like McLean and Hess and Taumalolo who can't move laterally and make repeat efforts in defence as well as maybe they used to. So I think that's been a big addition, particularly with Ruben Cotter out last week. Like McIntyre did a lot of the stuff that Cotter does through the middle. I think they're improving. What Dearden's doing with Jackson Purdue on that left edge is really good.
I think it makes them complete those little 1%ers and stuff a lot better. Like look at Cohen jamming Cleary like at the line. Like you don't see that from the Cowboys a couple of weeks ago. And I haven't seen Cohen get out of the line and kill a halfback in years.
For a long time.
Yeah. So a little bit of confidence, a little belief, and they're clearly, playing a lot better.
Speaking of teams looking to bounce back, we've got 2 games in Perth this week. Sharks taking on the Seagulls Saturday afternoon, and then not long after, your Rabbits against the Cows, Oscar.
Yep.
These 2 games are going to be really hard to get a read on, and the market kind of reflects that. But who benefits more from an away trip? I've always been a believer that if you're a struggling team or you're a team that's looking to return to form, getting away, particularly to Perth, neutral venue is a positive. So Sharks or Manly, who do you think benefits more from this?
Jeez, Manly looked like started so well against Melbourne, and then 5 minutes went past, and suddenly Melbourne had 18 points on the scoreboard. Like
that was insane.
It's frightening how quickly it can all unravel for the Seagulls, and then at the same time they looked so good in moments in attack. Lehigh Hopewade, he's not Tom Trbojevic, but I don't know if there's a fullback in the game with better hands out the back of shape. His timing, to put Fa'alolo over in the corner in the 79th with that consolation try. Like, he just caught and passed. He could have taken another 2 steps. It would have ran Clayton out of room. Like, those little things. He's such a good player. And then Cronulla, super disappointing 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah. Sitting 10th now.
My Sharkies.
Playing like
that happened
my minor premier tips, punters. I think they need more out of Blake Brayley from dummy half. They're not doing enough around the ruck first before shifting on the edges. Like, the most productive or creative Brayley's gotten in the last 2 weeks is jumping out from half and punching Cam McInnes into a short ball to get a quick play the ball. Like, why aren't they tipping so many big bodies through the middle? If they do a little bit more around the ruck, it's going to punch some holes in the defence or compress the line, and then the spaces will open up on the edges. But yeah, to me, it looks like they're just trying to get the ball too quickly out to the tram lines at the moment. So yeah, probably leaning towards Sharks, but God, I'm not confident in tipping a winner in that game.
I'm going the other way. I think from an outside noise perspective, I think Manly getting away from Brookie could be the best thing for them.
With the Ches saga.
Yeah, exactly. And like, what better place to go than the opposite side of the country where no one knows who you are? I think I'm really liking Manly this week. Manly. I think they could. There's nothing about the Sharks that gives me any confidence. And I think Manly have played really, really good footy this year at stages.
In patches, yeah.
So I think, this might be a good reset button for the Sea Eagles.
They've probably played the better footy recently. I just think Sharks are the better team.
Yep.
Which is why I'm tipping that way. But yeah, it's a coin flip.
Bit of conflict on the panel. How good. No one knows who they are over there, but I guarantee that both of those games will be close to sold out. No, Perth crowds turn up for these things. It's great. Hog of the week time. I'm going to start with Zach Lomax, who was very emotional in that win over the Dogs.
Yep.
His former team. We know what he did. Close to 200 metres again. Game-winning field goal. Just great to see him back on the wing, though. I was stoked with that. I think that's where he belongs.
You've been saying that all weekend as well. I'm just so happy about Lomax on the wing for Parramatta. That's just one of the great conversation topics.
Blowing up the group chat. That's what I wanted.
He's good. God, he's getting through a lot of work, isn't he?
Yeah.
Who's yours, Oscar?
Mine, I'll give it to the big man up in Brisbane.
The big man.
Xavier
Willison.
Willison. Yeah, that shape that he scored off, that is my favourite rugby league try that I've seen in a long time.
Can we break that down? Because it happened, you're like, holy, what a shape.
Yeah.
And
I've never seen it before.
Break it down.
So for the smooth brains like myself.
I'm going to try and make it simple.
What happened there?
So they're on the right post. They had Willison and another forward, probably Payne, running either side of the left post. So it looked like they had 2 forwards smashing to the left. And then they had Brendan Piakura wide on the right-hand side with Reece Walsh screaming for the ball and waving his hands around. Yeah, give me the ball like this. And he kind of, as Pakes come out of half, Walsh goes really wide, which dragged Latu Fainu out of the line. Brendan Piakura goes flying in really close to the ruck, which drags the 4-in defender would have been Seyfarth, or anyway, drags someone closer into the ruck, and then Willison wraps late from the open side. Instead of being a decoy at that left post, he actually wraps in behind the Piakura decoy, gets a one-on-one tackle and goes through.
It was incredible from Pakesy as well. He sort of wrong foots in one way,
faked to the double lead, come back, dummy to the Piakura decoy, and then just popped it into space. And I think we talked in the group chat, that's the 3rd or 4th try Brisbane have scored around the ruck this year.
Yeah.
So Pace is doing some really, really good things. It's impressive.
You talk about repeatable actions and tries. Yeah. Is that a shape that you can run but hit someone else
100%
now?
Yeah. Next time maybe you go dummy to Willison and then throw the technical ball out to Reece Walsh, because that 3rd-in defender is going to stay nice and tight and wait for Willison to wrap. Yeah, that was such a good try. Like, you see what Canberra did, for example, to win the game this week, like, so entertaining and so good to watch, but you can't rely on that to win your games each week. The stuff that Corey's doing from behind the ruck, that's 6 points every other week if they execute it. So, yeah, well done, Brisbane.
This is the sort of stuff Oscar gets off on. You
I
can sense the excitement in his voice. Who was yours, Fogs?
Same game, shocker. Broncos. I'm taking Adam Reynolds.
Yeah.
I just thought that he was incredible until his hammy gave out. That chip and chase, just chef's kiss. Really enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, that's a tough one to beat. When I was driving here, I'm like, Fogs is going to go red. It's just, guaranteed certainty.
I will struggle to pick a non-Bronco in this section. I reckon if we're winning most weeks. God, we look good.
All right. When we come back, we're going to discuss a pretty sickening beat on the multi last week and pick our legs for round 6.
Yep.
You are listening to NRL Unpopular Opinions. It's time to recap what went wrong last week. We got 3 out of 4 legs on the multi. I kicked us off with a win on Thursday night. Raiders to cover. Jharal came good by back in South Sydney to win. Fogs, you had the Broncos 13 plus against Tigers. Oscar.
No good. Again, 2 and 4. It's not looking good.
What did you go?
I had Trell Mitt,
Which was unlucky in your defence.
Is that the closest near miss we've ever had?
I'd have to say, yeah.
In round 1, I had Tuapiki who got tackled over the corner. Anyway.
But to have it taken off him.
It hurt. It hurt. I did the bunny ears in my living room as well. Disappointing. Sorry, boys.
To recap the records, and if you're listening to us for the first time, there is a tattoo on the line at the end of the year for who has the worst multi-record. Myself and Jharal have improved to 4 and 2. Fogs, you're back to 500 at 3 and 3.
That'll do.
Oscar 2 and 4, mate.
That's right.
I'm starting to think you want a tattoo.
I just like the challenge, eh? It's a bit like the Penrith Panthers right now.
It's over.
Let's get to this week. Who's got the first leg? I don't know.
That would be Oscar.
Me?
Yeah.
Dolphins.
Oh,
Panthers.
yeah. Thursday night.
Yeah.
Penrith, head to head. Give it to me. It's a cowardly leg at a cowardly price, but it all adds up.
I think we set a rule that said you couldn't back anything under $1. Was it $1.40?
Yeah, how close is it?
You got $1.42.
Oh, by B's dick.
Yeah. We'll take it.
Jarrell's next.
Jharal, what have you got?
Oh, I've got...
Boys, I'm getting on this week.
I'm really horny for the Titans.
Jarrell's going the Titans head-to-head against the Dragons. $2.35.
What did he say? He said, look, the Dragons, they're shit.
I just hate the Dragons.
They're shit.
They're brown
Titans-
bread. They're bloody brown bread, I tell you.
Yeah.
Bulletproof.
Come with me, boys.
Yeah.
I've been cleaning up on the footy this year.
Oh, I'm real hungover as well.
Third leg, I have gone the Cows to beat the Rabbits in Perth. And then, Fogs, you're going to bring us home?
No pressure. Melbourne Storm, New Zealand Warriors. I've got Melbourne 13 plus. I just don't know who can stick with the Storm at the moment. That's correct? Yes.
Yeah, well, I was looking at, what is it, like 15 years or something?
Well, 10.
10?
2009. So what's that? 14.
What's that?
15.
Since they last beat him.
Yeah, 2009.
Oh,
because Joey Johns were like, Joey Johns said
they're the bogey team.
The bogey team, and it was like 15 years straight.
Okay.
Melbourne.
I saw the tile and I didn't look at the information.
Yeah, just green, Melbourne. So, yeah, Storm in a big way at home, Sunday Arvo.
Yeah, the line's like 14 and a half.
Yeah, so I'm actually being a wuss.
Well, you're getting $1.75. It's better than Oscar. So.
Yeah, better than the poke in the eye.
To recap, we got Panthers head-to-head, Titans head-to-head, Cows head-to-head, Storm 13 plus, $10.04. That will be on the Neds app. Where else will it be, Oscar?
Open groups.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Sure of it. I'm getting on. No, am I?
All right, Jharal. Wait, you getting on, Jharal?
Nice.
Interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
Me too.
He's been quiet today, Al, man.
What's your language?
We're about to get out of here, boys. What is the final thought ahead of round 6? Oscar?
We have to talk about it.
Okay.
Reggie the Rabbit again.
Bring
you
it up.
apologise, Jeff?
He won't take my call. That pass from Latrell Mitchell for Isaiah Tass. We're not going to talk about whether or not it was forward.
Yes, we are.
Because it wasn't. Tell me another player that can throw that. That was the most ridiculous pass I have ever seen.
I reckon Pat Mahomes could throw it.
Yeah, damn. You already made that joke in the chat, didn't you?
No, that's some commentator did. Oh, Nah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Not that funny.
Throwing off the inside foot, oh my God, it wasn't a spiral. The way it floated and then dipped late. I mean, Dom Young's had a shocker with the read and he'll probably get dropped this week because of it by the sounds, but that was a hell of a pass. So yeah, shout out Trill Mint.
Was Cobbo's forward?
I think I turned it off by that point. I was out to dinner. I was being a bit autismo, sitting at the table watching my phone, and I was like, I know who I look like, and I need to stop. So.
Yeah. You want to say who?
Yeah, no, I don't. That's defamation.
Anything you're looking forward to this weekend, Fogs?
I want to give a quick shout out to another bloke I discovered was a Queenslander over the weekend. Jai Gray, probably best footy player in the country at the moment.
Dally M leader.
One of my favourite things to do is scroll the QRL Queensland eligible players page, and I find new gems in there every week. Jai Gray, Queenslander, Runaway Bay Seagulls, get around
Yeah,
him.
shout out.
Well said.
Bay Love. That's what they say.
I want to talk quickly about the draw, and I'm going to sound like that bloke you were just referencing there, Fogs, who often goes on about the fixture, but it's round 6 and we've got the Bronx playing the Roosters again for the second time and Tigers playing the Knights for a second time. I think the NRL needs to fix this. Next week we've got the Roosters Panthers again. It's like Groundhog Day 2 months into the season. I don't understand why they're doing that. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that, but it just makes for a little bit of boring viewing. I think there's an emphasis on getting bigger primetime games, and then they'll double up with these matchups later in the year.
I thought it might have been a follow-on effect from Vegas.
Could be.
Keeping Vegas teams playing each other early. But
I thought Broncos Roosters looked familiar. And then really, they played each other in round 1.
Yeah.
So, it's a bit dull.
It is.
You're not going to get a team, like if you play them, you're going to get them at different points in their season. Yeah. Come on, Pete.
Yeah,
Sort them out.
I know. Shout out.
Have
Pete.
a word.
We're not allowed to say that.
Sorry. Suddenly we lose all our Sydney races.
Thank you, Oscar. Thank you, Fogs. Jharal should be back next week if he makes it back from the great city of Maryborough. Thoughts and prayers. We'll
Piggy's nose for free out there.
Yeah.
they won't come at him.
We'll recap round 7 from there. Thank you for listening.
You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website